just going to see if it's still working.
All right. You dialed 1-800, didn't you?
Yeah.
Welcome to iFanboy, the video podcast for the comic book discussion website, iFanboy.com. I'm Connor. I'm here with
Josh.
And
Ron. And it's been a while. We've had a very busy summer here at iFanboy. We've been going to a lot of conventions. We've been doing a lot of great shows. And the voicemails have been piling up.
Yep.
So we figured it was time for another edition of the Wacky All Voicemail Show.
And as we mentioned, don't dial 1-800.
Yes. So you can, for those of you who don't know, we've got a great voicemail line at 1-888-FANBOYS. We get a lot of calls. We answer a lot of them on a weekly basis on our audio podcast, but we can't get to every one of them. So we picked out some gems. Actually, we haven't listened to these yet. So that's important to note that we're going into this blind. And we'll just dive through and go through them.
Let's go.
So we'll listen to your questions. We'll give you the answers. All right, so here is our first one.
Hi, Fanboy. This is Ren from Columbus. I have two questions. My first question is, I bought the Absolute Batman Hush. Really enjoyed it. I was wondering which books that have been brought out in an Absolute edition you thought really served well by the format, and which books you hope will be brought out in an Absolute edition at some point in time in the future. And for my last question, Guy Gardner, greatest Green Lantern ever, or greatest superhero ever? Thanks. Bye.
He's not really giving us an option.
Sorry.
Technical difficulty.
Sorry about that. So, all right. So Absolute editions. DC Comics has started putting together oversized hardcover versions of some of their greatest stories and that sort of thing. I think they first did it with The Authority and Danger Girl. I think were some of the first
ones.
Those
are the originals, yeah.
Everyone's talking about Danger Girl for the Absolute from
exactly. Actually, those pages. I mean, from an art standpoint, if you like J. Scott Campbell, they were very pretty. It's just like no story. Girls in tank tops swinging.
They went from Wildstorm to I don't know how that happened.
They actually did League of Extraordinary Gentlemen early on, I think, which I don't think.
Also, did they do that in Absolute?
Yeah.
All of those are in Absolute,
Not all the leagues.
All the leagues, yeah.
Right, but not all the ABC books.
The league books.
And then that led to them going, well, wait a minute, we've got Watchmen here, why don't we do that?
So his question is, what books would we like to see in that format? Would you like to see top 10?
That was going to be my answer.
Yeah,
I want to see top 10 a lot.
Top 10 in Absolute.
I think there really needs to be a Superman one.
Really?
And I think they should...
Which one, though?
I think they should do John Byrne's Man of Steel miniseries. Wow, which is like the seminal Superman story. It's the bringing Superman to the modern age, and it's one of the best Superman minis. Like, it's a great story, great art.
Except for the Watchmen, they only tend to be doing stuff from, I think it's the Watchmen and Dark Knight Returns. All of the stuff is from the late 90s on.
Well, I think what they've been doing is because they're I think it's hard to go really far back because they're recoloring them, they're kind of updating them, and I think the further they go, which is whether they can get the original art or what they can do to the original art to
they did Crisis on Infinite Earths.
That's probably the oldest one that they've done.
But that's Man of Steel's the year after that.
Right,
so I mean,
they can conceivably do that.
Yeah.
There was some talk at Wizard World Chicago actually about some folks in the audience wanted Infinite Crisis in Absolute Edition.
Infinite Crisis or Identity Crisis?
Infinite Crisis. I think Identity Crisis is perfect. I'm surprised they haven't done it.
It's only the 7 issues.
Yeah, but Dark Knight Dark Knight had both series. Yeah. I mean,
Dark Knight's, it's like that.
But New Frontier. How many issues?
4 prestige issues.
Yeah, 4 prestige issues. So I don't know.
It's a thin one, New Frontiers.
I would like to see. Well, the New Frontier's got a ton of extras.
Right. You can do that with any of those.
I would love to see Identity Crisis. I think that'd be really cool.
So. I think Identity more than Infinite Crisis.
So then, second question: Guy Gardner, greatest Green Lantern, greatest hero?
No.
He didn't really give us an option. No.
I like.
Is he awesome? Really awesome.
All right, let's get our next one here.
He's got a bowl haircut.
Hey Ron, this is Adam Wald. I've been trying to find out some new comics to get into. If you have any suggestions, I'm really into Ant-Man and Ultimate Spider-Man. I just want any suggestions, maybe 2 or 3. Call me back at 1-800.
No. We're not calling you back.
This is not a service.
We really appreciate the voicemail, but just watch the show. He left his phone number.
I called him back.
We talked.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, actually.
Nice. Anyway, so
Basically, that means we don't have to do this because they already took care of it.
Yeah.
so he reads Ant-Man and Ultimate Spider-Man, looking for some new books to check out. What should we throw his way?
It's kind of vague.
Well, yeah. Well, you read Ant-Man.
Yeah, it's nothing like Ultimate Spider-Man.
Well, it's
That's weird.
The coloring on the two books is very similar, and the paper stock. That's about what I got.
yeah. Well, if he likes if you like Ant-Man and you like Phil Hester, what are some stuff Phil Hester's done on the art? Maybe
He did Green Arrow.
he did Green
For a
Arrow.
while. Probably Ultimate X-Men.
Oh,
I'm guessing along those lines. It's just sort of the thing about those two books is that neither of them require anything else. You can read Ultimate Spider-Man and read no other books. You can read Irredeemable Ant-Man and read no other books.
Isn't it tied into all the Avengers stuff and the new status quo with Marvel? And
Yeah, but it's put out of it though.
You don't need to.
Yeah.
That's not necessary. It's there if you want some more context, but you don't need that. So I'm trying to other books like that.
The book we always recommend for people who like Ultimate Spider-Man is Robin.
Yeah.
The Wanted trade
Yeah.
paperback. Maybe even newly released Booster Gold, sort of in the vein of
the
Ant-Man-ish type of superhero.
Yeah. So.
And if you like Ant-Man, then you probably would like Kirkman stuff. And there's a whole lot.
Invincible
and Wolfman, maybe. Yeah, Wolfman's kind of got similar art as Ant-Man, maybe. Yeah. So go back. Marvel Team Up has been collected in trade paperback.
Marvel Team Up.
Robert Kirkman wrote Marvel Team Up for Marvel, which basically was a team up book where he'd take characters.
Spider-Man's in it.
And Spider-Man was in it. Yeah. So that's a good one.
We'll get there eventually.
Coming. Yes, hello? Yes, this is the iFanboy hotline. No, we used GoDaddy.com. Yeah, GoDaddy. Uh-huh. Yeah, if you enter the coupon code iFanboy, you can get 10% off your purchases. Alright, thank you very much.
Alright, cool. Here's our next one.
Hey, iFanboy, it's Chris from Long Island. I had a simple question. Somebody once told me that you are an experienced comic book reader when after the first time you read a bad comic and you can tell it's a bad comic. My question was, do you know, like, one of the first bad comics that comes to mind that you read and you, like, threw across the room? Thank you. Bye.
But you don't have to tell us yours.
I don't think I've ever thrown a comic across the room.
Oh, I've thrown comics across the room.
You've talked about it.
Yeah, but that's like exaggeration for the show.
Oh no, I've literally
never
thrown comics across the room.
I've never done that.
I have.
I remember when I was like 12 or 11, around that age, when the Image really hit.
Yep.
Not really hit, when the second wave hit. After the primary Founders books came out, then like all the secondary guys, like Brett
like
Booth.
Tribe and Larry Stroman and
most of those were awful, and most of those I knew as a kid that these are not good.
It's funny because you kind of stole my answer. Is that I remember because I got back into comics right when Image hit, and and I got Wildcats and Youngblood and Spawn and all that kind of stuff. But then the Liefeld Studio, Extreme Studio, started putting out a bunch of other books like Brigade, and Bloodstrike, and Blood Wolf, and
they involved blood and guns.
Yeah, Youngblood Strike File, which was actually really good. I really like Youngblood Strike File, but I remember it was an issue of Brigade where I was just like, this is just not good.
Well, I think it was a combination of our age where you're starting to get more discerning, and then those are just horrible comic books.
Exactly.
It's funny because you don't really know it at the time though. Like you're like, I don't know why I'm not enjoying this, and and now you can look back and go, oh, because it was a crappy story or it was lacking something.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think I knew at the time this art's really bad.
Yeah,
and the story's boring.
Michaels.
I'm talking about the point when I first get into reading books and it's like the first couple that you don't enjoy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, why didn't I enjoy it? Like,
and it leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah, but I didn't know enough about why, because at that point I was like, this is good and I like this and everything. I just know I didn't like the movies my mom watched, but I like the ones I did, so I didn't have a critical.
Not so much for terms of endearment.
Yeah. Okay. Threw me off. It's funny, if I think back, I actually got out of reading comics before Image hit. It was just before that, because I know that Larson and McFarlane and
Spider-Man
Field and all them were becoming big. I actually got out before Spider-Man 1.
Wow.
It was just before that.
Good timing.
Yeah. Who knew?
I just missed the entire speculation thing. I didn't make a dime.
I came in right at the end, and I was like, this Danger Girl thing's no good. But I bought those. Like when I first started reading, I was like, everyone's talking about this, and I was like, Battle Chaser.
This is becoming the Danger Girl mash.
No, but I have a better one.
It looks good.
I bought an issue of X-Men versus the Fantastic Four.
Okay.
And it was one of those books. You remember back when there was most of the books were 75 cents, and then there was the ones that were $1.50.
Yeah.
The Punisher War Journal. It was like that. It was really thicker paper, and it was colored well, and I was like, that sounds like a great idea, and I bought it, and then I went and I tracked down. I remember I mail ordered issues 2 through 4. And I just read it. I was like, I just felt vaguely unsatisfied, and I didn't really know what it was. And I was like, oh, it was like the first comics that I was like, I'm gonna go after them, and I really don't like them.
Yeah, that's sad.
You remember those?
I don't remember that.
It's like learning about Santa.
Yeah.
You know,
it's seeing through the veil.
Yeah.
I can see the cover, and it's oh crap, I'm gonna have to find this now. It's Reed Richards, and he's standing like over the dead X-Men bodies or something like that. Well, maybe
is he unshaven?
No, he's in the Doctor Doom outfit.
With the mask on.
Yeah, he's taking the mask off. He's like, aha!
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
I remember that.
I never read that. I have to check that out.
Unshaven and the big sunken eyes. He's always got.
I love the unshaven.
Working too long.
And I was going to say something about a bad comic. Oh, you mentioned Brett Booth in the second wave. There was a Brett Booth Spider-Man. There was a Backlash Spider-Man, and it was Ben Reilly Spider-Man, a Scarlet Spider. 2 issues. It was fantastic. It wasn't bad. It was really well done. It was really well produced, and I just remember loving that.
The first comic I read when I came back after that whole thing was Superman Forever. Remember that lenticular cover?
That was just not good.
And but I was like, everyone was like, it's going to be the big deal, and I was like, okay, this will be the one I buy, and it was horrible.
Yeah, it was thick too.
Yeah.
So all right, so we've detected when there have been bad books, and I have thrown them across the room. So I guess we're good.
Oh, now I have no problem.
Although now I'm hard pressed to name a bad book right now.
Okay, well, let's go in the other room.
I got a whole stack of them back there. All right, cool. So, well, I stopped buying that. So
But the thing now, as an adult, you stop buying them.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like movies, where like we talk about. I mean, I don't see movies that I don't like.
Yep.
Like I do a lot of research on the movie before I go see it. So, anyway, all right. So thank you, Chris. Here is our next voicemail.
Hey guys, this is Mike from Montgomery, Alabama. Had a question for you. I've been collecting comics since the late 70s, and I've gone through different iterations of collecting systems, starting with the index cards and a notebook, and now computer technology. Been using some different computer programs over the years, and I'm just trying to find out what method do each of you use? Do you track your collections? Do you method do you use to keep track of everything you have? I'm looking at a couple of different ones. One's a program called Comic Base that's a PC-centric program, and another one called comicpriceguide.com, which is a web-based tracking method. So just interested to hear your point of view on that. Thanks. Bye.
The comic book organization.
We're going to go ahead and turn it over to you two.
When I was a kid,
let's start at how we started. What did you do when you were a kid?
Junior high was like the time I started going every Wednesday. I started really collecting.
It wasn't
like
Wednesday,
crazy.
Junior high.
No, it was Friday. Yeah, I started going every Friday.
Thursday, then slept to Friday.
Yeah, it changed slowly. So I also that year we really got like our first like computer in the home.
The PC Junior.
Yeah, it was an Apple.
Really?
Yeah.
Apple IIe.
And so I created a database program, and it had like the title, and then the artist writer, and then my rating on the art.
So even back then you were a critic.
Yeah, and then who appeared in the book and who were guest stars, and like
you got much more detailed.
I had like
he was tagging.
I know, he totally was.
Wow. I was an early tagger, metadata, and so then I did that for years. I had like it was great because I remember we had a room and I took all my comics out and I stacked them by title, and I just went through each run and I would input all the data. I do that like in the summertime and stuff, and that was the best time ever. But now I don't. I just love doing it.
That's like I started off actually in middle school writing them. I went to Staples or whatever, and I got like a little cardboard filing cabinet, and I had all my comics in there, and I kept the list, and when I got them I write them. But I have awful handwriting, and so then I moved to the computer, and I had a database that I kept up until through high school. And my routine every Wednesday was I got more Friday, Thursday, Wednesday. I got my books, I read them, and then I sat down and I entered them in. And it was, I kept title, volume, issue number, publisher. I don't think I tracked creators. I don't think I tracked appearances. and that kind of went by the wayside once I hit college. And then maybe...
So you kept it up for a long time, though.
Well, through high school, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I made the database like in 10th grade, and I stopped doing it in 12th, so yeah, that's 3 years. But... and then maybe, what was it, like 5 years ago or so, I did the... When was it? It was it 2001?
Dark Arc 1.
I think I had a quantity field, like how many copies. But then it was in, I think maybe 2001, 2002.
I did that. I did them separately. Sorry. I was just thinking. I'm having flashbacks now.
Yeah.
Some good flashbacks.
I bet you did.
Yeah. I did the Great Comic Reorganization in 2001, 2002. And I started a new database, which is the one that I keep now. I built it myself, and what I added was I added box number, what long box number it was in. So if I look up, like the max number 13, I know it's in box number 17.
So what happens if you shift boxes?
You got to go through and update. I mean, that's the tough thing. I mean, that's why I've been looking at those drawer box.
Yeah, those look cool.
They look very, very cool, but I think you still have the same shifting problem. And you get into arguments like I happen to organize my books.
Who are you getting arguments with about your own comic books?
Well, no,
myself in the mirror, like Norman Osborn and Spider-Man.
No, my other comic book friends. But anyway, but what happens is that. I organize them alphabetically,
right.
And then within title chronologically.
Yeah, absolutely.
There are some people who organize things differently, not just comics.
I'm not organized.
Right, no, but like your DVD collection is organized genre-based.
We've been through.
I know, but I'm saying that. But I know other people who organize their comics that way through like time periods.
That's dumb.
Yes. So, but anyway, but to answer the question, I've looked at Comic Base. I've looked at some of the online options. There's another one called ComicCollectorsLive.com, I think. The problem I have with that is that when you lay down money for a service or a piece of software, especially in the world of software, there's a good chance that company won't be around in a couple of years.
Some of those are free.
Some, right, and even more so if they're free.
Right.
Yeah. So, and if their software is made, if they're feeding the information, so all you're doing is saying, yes, I have that book. Mm-hmm. If they go away and stop feeding the information, then you're sunk. So what you want to look for is you want to look for one that allows you to export the data in a common, like a CSV format or XML or just standard kind of database flat file kind of thing, or text file. I'm sorry, we're getting a little more techy now, aren't we?
Hey, whatever.
But I'm just saying, if you want to use them, they've got really cool features. My worry is that are they going to be around in 10 years? So
there's a small part of me that thinks if I didn't have a job, I was a crazy old rich man, I would just go back and start.
Oh, I know.
I'd do it again.
In my 70s, there's going to be comics. You're going to be able to get in my house because there'll be comics everywhere, and I'm just going to be there typing in.
My organizational OCD thinks it'd be a lot of fun to do that.
It'll be holographic though by then. I'll just be like, oh, that one.
Probably around 2000, I laid everything out and I put them in an order, and I was like, I don't ever want to do that, and I haven't looked back.
There is really cool, and this is a good idea. There are really cool applications for DVDs and books that exist where you scan the barcode, and it does that. If somebody did that for comics, that would be awesome. So anyway,
yeah, that would be cool actually.
All right, cool. So,
well, technically, if they're books, you could still scan it because
the trade, the ISBN number.
They don't have ISBN numbers on issues?
No, those are just standard UPCs, periodical UPCs. I think. What happened? All right. Okay, here's our next voicemail.
Hi, iFanboy. This is Luke from Denver. I was just doing some looking around on the internet trying to find a comic book convention around my town, and I've suddenly discovered Denver doesn't have a Comic Con. So the thing that I'm asking is, how do you get a comic convention started, and what would you have to do to do that? I don't know if you guys would know that, but I do love the show, so I'm assuming because of that you would know. So, thanks. Bye.
I think he puts far too much faith in us.
I really like that guy. I'm having trouble with my engine, and
check the catalytic converter.
Yeah, I like the look in your face. So I'm gonna put some money into that. Don't do it July or August.
I think a convention only exists in cities where there's a need.
Right.
Or where there's
you figure Denver might have enough.
Denver might have. Ask at local comic shops. The thing is, putting together an event like that is a lot of work and requires money. So maybe email Wizard and say, hey, we'd love to have a Wizard World here because they're looking to expand. But the thing is, things like Comic-Con in San Diego started 30 plus years ago, and it was a fan-based built thing. They got a room in a hotel.
Gym or a hotel.
Yeah, remember when we lived in Ithaca? It was in the cafeteria at the Ithaca High School.
I was going to say, you start small, basically. Yeah. If you get a room out, or like a room at the Sheraton or something.
Not a room, like
that.
A hall.
Well, right. Sheraton, thanks. Yeah.
And you have, if there's a local, what you really need to have actually is you need to have a local comic book community to support it. So you need to know if there are any number of like local creators. I know like in like Dallas for some reason there's like seems to be a lot of indie comic creators, and there's like a small publisher. If there's a small publisher in your area, maybe they can do it with you, or a bigger store.
Get a sponsor, or get some sort of backing type thing, association.
You're going to need to go around to the stores and make sure, because the base of the comic, the small Comic-Con is going to be the dealers. Right. You need to make sure people are going to want to go to bring their stuff to these things.
If you're an enterprising person, Luke, it could be lucrative. I mean, like if you go to all the
lucrative con.
His
name is Luke.
But I mean, you could put up flyers in all the comic stores in Denver with a link to a webpage with like a survey asking if people are interested in it. If they're interested in it, get a room, charge $10, get a creator, and see what happens.
They start small, and that's the one thing. Like San Diego Comic-Con started very small 30 years ago, I think.
30-ish.
And it grew from there. So you never know. I'm sure the Heroes Con was a guy who had a store, and he's like, I want a convention.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah.
So that's how you start.
If you want us to appear,
we did know.
It's amazing.
Jeez.
LukeCon.
If you want us to appear at LukeCon, if you pay for our flights, we'll come.
We will be special guests of LukeCon.
But don't make us the draw. You need someone.
Yes, exactly. Please don't. No, that's not a good idea.
Special guests, Ron Josh Connor. No one shows up. Where is it?
Who are these guys? I can ask them about my engine, though.
Keep calling. Why do you keep calling? Hello, iFanboy. Yes, it's a 2-week free trial. Yes, netflix.com/iFanboy. 2 weeks. Okay. No, there's still no delivery fee. There's no late fees. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. Bye.
Hey, iFanboys. It's Kyle from Chicago again. Just driving along here, and I thought I'd recommend a book to you. You guys are always talking about some good Image books like Fell and Invincible and The Walking Dead. But I think you guys need to check out Rick Remender's Fear Agent. It's really good. It's the first arc has Tony Moore art, and Jerome Pena is also the artist on some of the other arcs. And it's a pretty good book. It's pretty solid. It's just fun sci-fi stuff, like classic EC stuff almost. But I think you guys should check it out. Thanks.
Done.
Okay, let's go right now.
If you've been listening to the audio show, you may know that we recently discovered this book. Or rediscovered.
Fucking love it.
Yeah, it's quite good.
It's awesome.
He's dead on. It's our new.
Fear Agent's the new iFanboy book.
It's the new Invincible.
It's the new Invincible.
Yeah.
Sorry, Robert.
Well, hey, his check stopped coming.
That's what I'm saying.
And Rick's on the program now, so it's
we get Tony Moore either way.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's sci-fi. It's sort of
it's genre.
50s sci-fi.
Well, what happened is that there are two trades out that originally came out on Image through Image Comics, and they've recently been republished by Dark Horse. And
not the trades. Have they?
The trades have, yeah.
They have?
Yeah, they have.
Really?
I believe they have. And Dark Horse has started up a new, monthly series. And the first two trades were very sci-fi genre, kind of took place in space. Fear Agent is basically the main guy. What's his name? Heath Houston is like he's a alien exterminator almost.
Alien fighter.
Tony Moore draws faces that go like this.
Yeah,
a lot.
And so we get introduced to Heath and his job out in space. That something happened on Earth. Somehow he ended up.
He's
in
a
space.
hard-drinking alien fighter.
Exactly. And what's happened? And there's intricate relationships and girls, women, and stuff like that. And what happens is that there's women in
stuff
space
like that.
And so with the new monthly series that just recently started coming out from Dark Horse, we're going back to almost like a prequel to see what happened on Earth that got the aliens to destroy Earth and how Heath gets to space. And it's, as opposed to being sci-fi, now it's more of like a war genre comic, which is awesome.
That, like, you see a lot of aliens, and in Marvel books, all the aliens tend to look like just vague variations on Vulcans and humans.
It's like Star Trek aliens.
Yeah, and these aliens.
That's a very good point.
And these aliens are all like there's blobs with tentacles, and then there's a robot society, and then there's all the imagination that comes out of that book is just all over the place, and it's really kind of scary. And the other thing about it is it's constant. Like when you read it, it's really like you're going through it, and it's very exhilarating. Which is kind of hard to do on a page, but they do really well. Yeah. Tony Moore is really excellent, and it's one of those books where we talk about books where the love is on the page, and Rick Remender we've talked to him, and that book, he loves that book.
Yeah,
you guys fun doing it, and it shows.
We dig it. So, but thank you, Kyle, for the tip.
Hello, iFanboy. Jinx. No, not like you owe me a Coke. No, Jinx. Yeah, they do our T-shirts. Yep. Jinx.com, iFanboy. Yeah, that's a slash. Sorry. Yep. Yeah, then you can be an intern, just like me, and answer the phones when they never stop ringing. Okay. All right, Mom. Talk to you later. Bye.
Hey guys, Dan from Bloomington, Illinois. I swear I actually have a job and hobbies, but I just think of all these fun things that I'd love to hear you guys discuss. As I was looking through Countdown this week, this whole bizarre Jimmy Olsen thing, I just got to thinking about how certain creators are really good at doing guys, and otherwise they're just terrible. I guess the only thing I can think of is, let's say, when Peter David does Hulk, he's really interesting. Otherwise, not maybe so much. When Bendis does Luke Cage, I find Luke Cage to be a really cool character. Otherwise, Luke Cage doesn't do anything for me. Just kind of wonder if you guys had any certain characters that you thought were only good when certain creators tackle them. So I'd love to hear what you have to say. Have a good one.
It's a good question, and we've talked about that a lot, actually, with Bendis and Luke Cage, and a lot of the Bendis voices, stuff like that.
That one's a little different because Luke Cage wasn't really being used. Like, he was in the 70s, and then he kind of disappeared. Well, there was the Brian Azzarello.
Right.
But that's like the Spider-Man baby. It just didn't happen.
Cage has been relegated to Bendis, and Jessica Jones, and nobody else really writes them at all.
Right. A lot like Renee Montoya. With Greg Rucka.
That's a good example.
And I don't know if anybody else is able to write her, but...
Well, she's recently popped up in Countdown, and there have been some critiques as to whether or not she's any good in Countdown, not being written by Rucka. Which you kind of feel bad because you feel as if the character then is limited by the writer. Yeah. But a couple that came off the top of my head was Paul Dini and the Joker and Batman. That whole world. Like, Paul Dini has that, I feel
I don't think that's true at all. No, I mean, the best Joker story ever was Alan Moore.
Well, true, right. That was saying the best story ever.
Shit.
Yeah. Right, well, I don't care what he thinks.
That would be the Killing Joke, is what we're referring to. Talked about that in episode 11.
Yeah.
Is that the actual episode number?
Yes.
Oh, wow. That's, all right, well, I'm wrong. I would say Chris Claremont and Storm.
Really? I
feel as if nobody's ever really written Storm as well as Claremont did.
Who does Cyclops?
Storm, Chris Claremont.
Is anyone else?
Joss Whedon did.
Joss Whedon did, yeah.
You're right, he did.
What about Joss Whedon, Kitty?
I don't feel like I've gotten enough of Kitty from Joss yet. I mean, and I
just really liked her in Astonishing X-Men when Joss Whedon wrote it, and I don't remember liking her as much. Although Bendis does her Ultimate version very well in Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah. It's a different character, though.
Yeah, it is. That's true.
A really good one would be Doctor Strange. Recently was written by Brian Vaughn.
But Bendis does him really well in Avengers.
I don't like it as much. And
I really like him in Avengers.
I mean, people weren't flocking to the Doctor Strange series, but
not by the sales numbers.
I wasn't really interested in Doctor Strange ever, but I ate that miniseries up, and that was the first time that I've been like, oh, Doctor Strange is mildly intriguing to me.
Certainly from a solo aspect, I think that's probably true.
Yeah. There's definitely...
It's tough. I mean, really, any character should be able to be written by any good writer.
Right, exactly, and that's the key. Is that
Darwin Cook's Hal Jordan. Yeah, and we've talked about this on the show, but no one else has gotten that in a while.
Yeah, but I think that's the important point, though, is that if a character is limited by the writer, then there's something kind of flawed there. Admittedly, there are bad writers writing all their characters poorly, but
Well, some people match up with some things better than others, and they're able to put their own experience or their own take on life or their own thing into it, and it just breathes this intangible life into something that you can't.
And sometimes that happens very quickly, and sometimes it takes time. Like, we were very critical of Bendis writing Wolverine and Avengers, and I feel as if just now, a couple years later, he's starting to hit his stride writing Wolverine. So
I have a question for you then. Who do you think is the best Wolverine writer? Who do you read and go, that's like Wolverine? Was it Claremont in the 80s? Was it Frank Miller's miniseries? Was it Barry Windsor Smith's Weapon X?
No,
was it
Larry Hama did really good in Wolverine on the solo?
Really?
Claremont wrote those Miller issues.
Yeah, no, Claremont wrote the Miller.
All right, yeah, you're right.
Larry Hama did stuff like
Larry Hama,
on. Yeah, I mean, that stuff is interesting. I mean, I really like the old Wolverine solo series with him as Patch and all that kind of stuff. And I know Claremont wrote a bunch of that stuff, and then Larry Hama kind of took it from there. And I hope it's Larry Hama. I'll kill myself if it's not. The guy who wrote when Silvestri was on it. Pretty sure it was Larry Hama. I gotta look that up.
That was around the time that I stopped reading comics.
Yeah. nonetheless, so well, thank you to everybody who called in. The great thing about doing the show and stuff like that is we interact with you, the audience, all the time, and we really appreciate your questions. And you don't realize how much your questions kind of get us talking off camera and off show. So we really love it. So please keep calling in.
That's for us.
Yeah, keep leaving the voicemails, and you can do that by calling 1-888-FANBOYS. That's 1-888-326-2697. When you call, please try to keep your questions to about 30 seconds or so, but please call. We love it.
So that's also for this, when we do this kind of show, but also for the weekly audio podcast.
Yep.
And if you're not the talkative type like we are, you can write an email to contact@ifanboy.com. About damn near anything you want, really. No guidelines or tips. You can make them really long.
They can be, yeah.
Also keep it at the 30 seconds.
Although sometimes that kind of creeps us out.
And every now and then we'll be doing an email video show, and we also answer emails on the audio podcast as well.
Right.
So.
And you can go to www.ifanboy.com to discuss this show, discuss the weekly comics, discuss anything you want. We do blogging, we do examinations of comics and events and things around. And there's also our forums at revision3.com. You can go to the discussion forums area. There's a link to it on iFanboy. That's where you can actually start topics and talk about whatever you want. We talk about everything there, including this show and the weekly books too.
You're looking up Larry Hama, aren't you?
Yeah, it was good. I wasn't wrong.
There's exams on the website now. We have to take tests.
Yes, you've got to take a test.
I'm going to fail.
Yeah.
Miserably. And he's cheating.
Larry Hama was on Wolverine, so I was right. Yay! Okay. In 3.
Pull my mic inside out. Yeah, we could have just done the show with the mic up against my chest. That would have been fine.
I like comic books.